Hey, I'm TJ Anthony with CBS 21 News, and you are watching 21 Next. So today we are talking about a really historic winter storm making its way through the country right now. Let's go ahead and pop up the CBS 21 live weather radar and just show you where this storm is right now as we wait for it to make its way up to our area. So you see it's a wide-ranging storm with millions of Americans in the path. We're talking about weather warnings from the Midwest and the West Coast, even from Arizona, all the way up to the Northeast Maine. So, of course, that means us right here in central Pennsylvania, we will be impacted by this storm as it makes its way across the country. Governor Josh Shapiro even signed a proclamation of disaster emergency. Dauphin County commissioners issued also a disaster declaration because of the dangerous conditions today. Also, the city of Lancaster declared a snow emergency too. So a lot of people are bracing for this. You probably went to the grocery stores, you've been stocking up, you've been getting prepared because infrastructure, travel, roadways, all of those are expected to be impacted, as well as so much more. So our team of meteorologists have been really tracking, watching this system. Let's bring in meteorologist Ed Russo right now. So Ed, I remember when this system was actually a conversation that we were having last week about this, because you kind of noticed it was building momentum, and now it's become just this huge storm causing just a lot of just kind of worry across the country, especially in the South, even up here, just because of how much it's expected to impact our area and really just a lot of the country as well.
Yeah, I can't remember last time I've seen winter storm warnings continuous, basically from New Mexico all the way to Maine. I mean, we're seeing weather alerts as far west as Arizona, but a continuous winter storm warning, which means high impact weather expected from New Mexico all the way up through New England with this particular winter storm. And depending on where you are, you'll see some different things evolve as we go through this event. So we're looking at, we'll show you a graphic we have here. It shows you basically what we're expecting tomorrow morning. So this is 11 o'clock Sunday morning. You see the entire area is snowing. And what's rather unusual about this is how cold it's going to be as the snow is falling. Usually our winter weather events, when it's actively snowing, we're 25, 30 degrees. Well, in this case, we're going to be in the mid-teens. I mean, the snow is going to start during the overnight. It's going to be heavy all morning long. So this is already after it's been actively snowing for several hours. And then as we go through the afternoon, we can go to the next graphic. This is showing you late afternoon, early evening. So around 6 o'clock, I do think we're going to see some sleet actually lift north from the Maryland border. If we can go to that next graphic, so you see that purple, that's basically sleet over the area, and we're dealing with mixed precipitation, even though we're still at the surface seeing temperatures in the upper teens to lower 20s. And the reason we're seeing sleet is because about 7,000 to 10,000 feet above our heads, high in the sky, temperatures are going to warm up into the low 40s. So typically when you go up in the atmosphere, temperatures fall, temperatures decrease with height. In this particular case, for a period of time during the height of the event, we're going to see this warm air move in high over our heads. Again, 7,000 to 10,000 feet up. That's going to be warming into the low 40s. So that's going to melt the snow, but then it's going to fall back into the very cold air closer to the surface of the earth. And it's going to have no problem refreezing, and it's going to refreeze in the form of sleet. And the sleet is going to cause you're probably going to see reduced snowfall totals where the sleet occurs, but it's going to make whatever snow falls heavier. It's going to make the snowpack very dense. So I highly recommend shoveling as often as you can, because you don't want to be shoveling 6-7 inches of snow that's been compacted with sleet. It gets very heavy, and some snow blowers don't even work in conditions like that.
Yeah, and then with this system, I mean, it's bringing really just a wide range of different mixes with it. Some freezing rain, like you mentioned, sleet, and of course snow. So it's actually supposed to start off as snow, correct? And then it'll kind of develop throughout just the hours that it's going to be falling down. Because this is a system, it's not going to just be falling down for 2, 3, 4 hours. It's going to be falling down for a while, right?
Yeah. So good question there. We're a lot of the events we've had, recently, even in recent years, it's the event lasts, 12, 15 hours. This is going to last a full 24. So that's why we're expecting higher totals because of that. those are our snowfall expectations. So that's what we think is the most likely scenario. So Tom, Steve, and I, we put our heads together, and that's the map we come up with. We did a few minor tweaks from shift to shift, but the thinking is largely the same. 12 to 16 for much of the viewing area. If the sleet is a little bit more prolonged, you're probably looking at the lower end of those ranges verifying. If we see less sleet than what's expected, then the higher end of those ranges will verify. Of course, if it turns into one big sleet storm, which I don't expect at this point, we would see totals less than that. But right now, that is what we're looking at in terms of total snowfall plus some sleet mixed in. The sleet is going to be more likely and more pronounced south of the Turnpike, and especially south of US 30. So I do think Southern York and Lancaster Adams could actually see significantly less snowfall than areas, say, northwest of 81. So Southern York, Southern Lancaster, I could definitely see, 8-9 inches, where once you get northwest of Harrisburg, amounts could be as high as even 14, 15, 16 inches. It all depends on how far that sleet line goes north. I do think it's definitely making its way into central PA, but honestly, I'd rather have more snow than sleet, because sleet makes everything heavier. It makes everything harder to clear. So really in this situation, even though you'd get more snow, it'd still be easier because we're not dealing with anything heavy and wet. A lot of the snow that falls is going to be the dry and fluffy kind that's easy to shovel and blow around.
So Ed, a big question with this, of course, a couple of big ones. Kind of talk about, since it is a storm that's going to be lasting for hours with snow falling for hours, when do you expect to start falling? Because I know it says Saturday night right there, but what time? And then also, when do you expect this to end? Also, I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now.
No, it's okay.
Also, when do you expect that snow to actually start freezing, which will, of course, really impact the roadways a lot?
Okay, so I think we could see the snow come in a little bit earlier than we were first anticipating. It's all kind of a wait and see operation, but I could see the snow starting to fill in across parts of the area as early as 11 o'clock tonight. I think we're going to see the entire area snowing even heavily at times by 5 in the morning. So it's just going to get worse through the overnight. So if you have any plans, anything you need to do, anything you need to have, and you need it by tomorrow, or you need it tomorrow, you go out and get it tonight. If it's just something as simply going to the grocery store, running some errands, picking up a prescription, don't wait till tomorrow, do it tonight. Because if you don't have to be on the road, there's just no sense on you just putting yourself in an unnecessary situation. The big reason we want the roads cleared is so road crews can have more wiggle room to clear. So the more people that aren't on the road, the better. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I'm not going to judge anyone who goes on the road. People have to do what they have to do. But if you can, do what you need to do tomorrow. If you can do that errand tonight, I highly recommend it. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait till Monday afternoon. Now, as far as the when do the slick roads start? As soon as the snow starts to fall, because this snow is not going to melt at all. We're going to be so cold during the course of the event. We're talking about temperatures of 12 to 18 degrees most of tomorrow as the snow is falling. And the road treatment only works when temperatures are above 17. So the only way the crews are going to be able to clear the roads is to actually physically clear the snow. The road treatment isn't going to help much. And remember, as people are driving over the snow, as they're driving over snow-covered roads, they're compacting it. So the more traffic that a road has, the more likely it's going to get compacted and turned into that kind of sheet of ice. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you mentioned something very important, just the fact that crews have to clear off the roadways, especially when temperatures are this low. We have team coverage on this. We will have team coverage throughout the weekend. Let's go and bring in Lily Sexton right now. She's been standing by. Lily, you actually talked to a tow truck driver, and he's actually going to be kind of helping road crews with this, correct? Kind of break that down and how he's going to be helping out.
Right. As soon as that snow emergency is in effect and we have to have those snow emergency routes cleared, the police departments work with tow truck drivers to get those cleared. He told me he covers a 5-mile radius, and in storms similar to this in the past, he's towed 50 cars. So there are people that just aren't aware of what this snow emergency really means, have to then pay a big fine to get their car back after already dealing with all the snow hassles like shoveling.
Yeah, and then he will be running routes as well, because of course they have a wide area to cover, and different companies too are going to be taking part in this. What routes did he tell you that he's going to be covering?
All of the snow emergency routes that are labeled on the street. So if you're unsure of whether or not you're parked on a snow emergency route, we have that information online, and it's also on every single street where it applies.
And then how crucial did he say it is for people to make sure they move their cars, especially during a storm like this?
Earlier this week, I spoke to city leaders who spoke about this as well. With if your cars are on the emergency route, they're not going to be able to safely plow it, which means emergency vehicles will not be able to get out. That's the police department, the fire department, the anyone that needs emergency services. They won't be able to access those homes if the routes aren't cleared. So it's really essential for your neighbors and anyone that could find themselves in an emergency situation that you get your car out of the way.
Yeah, no, it's important for that. So first responders can get where they need to be. Absolutely. But also, there's a hefty price tag when it comes to this as well, if you do not move it and he does have to tow it.
Right. City leaders said the cars would be ticketed and towed. So that's two bills that car owners would have to pay if their car's not moved.
And did he give you like an estimate about how much it costs or anything along that matter?
No, no, I didn't get that.
Okay.
But it is the city leaders did say it'd be a hefty price tag.
Okay. Okay. And Lily, anything else we need to know about this that he told you today? Any other information?
The time that each snow emergency is in effect different is depends on what area you live in. So you should just go online and figure out what time it is for your area so you know when to get out of the way.
Awesome. Lily, thank you so much. And she's actually working on a full report for our 11 o'clock broadcast. We're also going to have a 10 o'clock broadcast on the CW too. So meteorologist Ed Russo still in this live stream right now. So make sure you go ahead, send us your comments right now. We see some of you have already started commenting. Ed, that snow is supposed to be coming in at 11. You actually said the ice, it could turn into ice when it hits the ground, still impacting roadways almost
Yes.
immediately.
So we're not talking about freezing rain here. What we're talking about is snow that when after it's falling on the road for a while and people are constantly driving over the snow covered roads, the snow gets compacted, and that compaction can turn into kind of a icy situation. You don't really have any traction where the snow's been compacted. I don't think the road treatment is going to do much. So road crews, the only way they're really going to be able to treat the roads is by physically taking the snow off the road, which is why if you don't have to be out there while they're doing it, that's favorable. So those are the snowfall expectations as we head through tomorrow afternoon. I do think we're going to see a period of sleet. It depends on how far north that sleet goes, but with those snowfall totals are including the potential for sleet. I have less snowfall for areas along and south of US 30 because I think that's where the sleet's going to be more pronounced. But the sleet's also going to make the snowpack, it's going to make it crustier. And certainly when it gets compacted on the road, we're talking about that becoming more or less an icy situation. So we're not talking about freezing rain here, but not too far to the south in Delmarva, the Eastern Shore, south into Maryland, I do think there's a threat for freezing rain down that way. I don't see that lifting north into the area, thankfully, because freezing rain is the worst type of wintry precipitation. But really, for us, it's going to be mostly snow with some sleet, especially tomorrow afternoon. And again, sleet makes everything harder to clear because it adds weight to the snow. And of course, when it gets compacted, can turn into ice on some of the area roadways. And it's not going to take much for the snow to turn to ice because it's not going to melt, because most of tomorrow temperatures are going to be below 20 degrees.
Yeah, and then we also tomorrow will have a team of people spread out county by county too. We'll have a special edition of CBS 21 in the morning too with Kennedy Miller and Steve Knight as well. And I know this map is up here, but really just explain to people too, which areas do you expect to be the hardest hit, which counties and which.
So that's a good question. So you're looking at the northern part of the viewing area that sees 12 to 16 inches of snow, because I believe they're going to see less sleet. So more snow, you think worse storm. But if you have 10 to 12 inches of snow, but a lot of it's been compacted with sleet, that doesn't make the southern part of the viewing area any better than the northern side. It's just the snow is going to have a much heavier consistency to it on the ground after it falls. So if you're trying to shovel or you're trying to snow blow, a lot of sleet mixed in there can make that very difficult. So it really, depending on where you are, your difficulties are going to be for a slightly different reason. But definitely, the further north you are, better chance to see this as all snow. Further south you are, better chance to see this as all sleet. And even though that's going to cut down on snowfall totals, that doesn't mean you're escaping the impact. You're just going to be dealing with a much heavier, crusty snow that's harder to clear. And that's why I've been saying, honestly, this would be much easier if it were all snow. It'd be easier to forecast. We'd have more certainty about numbers. And the other thing is, it would generally, light, fluffy snow is fairly easy to clear. It's easy to snow blow. It's easy to shovel. It's not the heavy, wet snow that we sometimes often see around here. But with the sleet, that's just going to make it heavier, especially where it falls the most, which I expect to be over the southern part of the viewing area.
And then, Ed, you also mentioned something very critical when we're talking about this winter storm are the cold temperatures. So
Yeah.
Our digital producer, Sarah, if we could kind of show that main break that recently happened today, can we pull that up on the website just to show people, how the weather is already impacting the area? Can we show that? So while Sarah's pulling that up, Ed, do you know, when temperatures will finally warm up? I mean, going into Monday, we're still talking about some pretty cold temperatures out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see temperatures moderate by the end of next week, but I still think we fail to hit 30. So this is going to be, a lot of times with these winter storms, we get a bunch of snow, and within 5-6 days we see a moderation in temperature that helps warm things up. That's not the case here. We're going to get snow, we're going to get snowpack, and we're going to get absolutely bitterly cold, frigid, dangerously cold temperatures behind it. Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, we could see wind chills on the order of 10 to 20 below zero.
Wow.
And that can cause frostbite pretty quick on exposed skin. And the fact that we have a very fresh snowpack will make it even easier for it to be that much colder. So
And then
the cold is, and it's not just going to be, 24 to 48 hours. We're looking at basically all of next week is going to be well below normal. I don't think we hit 30. Many of those days, the highs are just going to be in the upper teens and low 20s, and actual low temperatures are going to be near zero a few of those nights.
Yeah, so this is that water main break that happened in York right there. So probably weather related. Now, city officials also say it's causing significant flooding too. I mean, with something like that, so significant right there, how long does it take for water like that to freeze? Because that could be potentially very dangerous.
So when water's moving, it takes very, very cold temperatures for moving water to freeze. That's why, a lot of the, streams sometimes are running, even though, temperatures are well below freezing. You can see the Susquehanna River. Obviously that's a moving body of water, and the surface of the river has frozen over, but water's still moving underneath. So in this situation, we're only sitting at 14, 15 degrees right now. So whenever that water that's on the road there settles, yeah, we could see that layer of water start to freeze near the top. And it's not going anywhere because it's going to be frozen. Obviously, the colder it is, the faster things like that can freeze up. And when you have sustained cold like this, I mean, we had some locations start off near zero this morning, and the longevity of the cold that we're going to be dealing with puts a lot of stress on the pipes. So that, I like to call this pipe bursting cold, because I do think we're going to see some issues with that, especially as we get into Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday, because we had already been very cold for a long period of time by that point. So it's going to put a lot of stress on the pipes. And unfortunately, I don't think this is the only situation like this that we're going to see as we head over the next few days. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's of course why it's so important, keep those faucets dripping. Just really make sure you're taking a lot of extra safety precautions.
Yeah, and
in place.
I like what you said there. So the reason you want to keep your faucets moving is because it keeps the water moving. And that's why I was saying it's harder to freeze water that's moving. It takes more energy to freeze that water that's moving, but water that's just sitting there, that's stagnant, water that's sitting in your pipes because there's nothing moving. That's what makes the water freeze so easily. It's stagnant, not moving nature, and then that's what can cause pipes to burst. Especially if your pipes may be functioning, but there may be a crack. And, the crack finally fails in conditions like this. So it's something to think about.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to think about with this. I mean, even your car, if you don't have to get on the roadway, make sure you just don't. I mean, it's best to do that, especially with a storm like this. So make sure you just stay locked in. Download our CBS 21 app as well, so you can stay up to date on all the developments. In case there's power outages, we can tell you about them. Charge your phone, fill up your tank now, do everything you need to do right now before the snow starts coming down in the coming hours. And of course, make sure you watch CBS 21 News tonight at 10, 11. We're also going to be doing more digital newscasts. We're going to do a special edition of the morning show tomorrow morning, starting at 5 a.m. We're going to have live team coverage as well tomorrow. So we're doing everything we can just to make sure you're safe, make sure you know what's going on, and make sure you're staying up to date with all the latest in news information with this winter storm coming. So thank you so much for watching 21 Next. Stay safe.